Namanda Butsu, 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 Namanda Butsu. Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Hello, and welcome to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. This is the service for October of 2022. Thank you so much for joining us once again here on TSDBT's YouTube channel. Service order for this service will be Juseige. You can find Juseige on page 59 in the Blue Denver Service Book. Following Juseige, we'll read the Jodo Shinshu Creed. You can find a copy of the Jodo Shinshu Creed in the description below this video. We'll then have a Dharma Talk where we'll be talking about the foundations of human existence and YouTube videos. So I hope that you stick around and enjoy that Dharma Talk. And thank you once again for joining us here on TSDBT's YouTube channel. I know it's been a minute since we posted a new video, but we're going to do our best to have a new video every month from here on out. So please leave some comments below if there's something you would like to see specifically within our service videos. And if you don't have a copy of the Blue Denver Service Book, well, don't you worry, because if you look in the description below, you'll find a hyperlink to a Google Drive where you can download your own PDF copy of the Blue Denver Service Book. Feel free to print it off, save it on your desktop, or share it with friends, because it's only with the Blue Denver Service Book that you can share along and chant Juseige with us. And I hope that you're having a great, wonderful, and beautiful fall. And please do everything you can to keep everyone out there healthy, happy, and safe. And please enjoy the Buddha Dharma with us today. Namo Amida Butsu. Gagon chosengan hishimu jodo shingan fumanzok seifu joshongak gahomu yorko Fui dai se shu, fusai shobingu, seifu joshongak, gashi jobundo, myosho chojipo, Kukyo mishomon seifu joshongak ryoku jinshonen joe shubongyo shigu mujodo Isho tenin shi jinriki hendai ko fusho musai do shoujo san kumyo kosai shuyaku nan Kaihi chiengen meshi konmoan he 足小悪道通難全宗門高僧上満足異様の寺法日願修寿期天候不言一種解放像公正苦の苦法上内修寿説法ししく供養一切分具足修徳本元年心上満徳一三愛用如門無下知自難未不詳願悪力投資最小尊心願や効果大聖の感動国書天人と珍妙見願入しく読平等性一切道本母内心往生安楽国。Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. We will now have a reading of the Jodo Shinshu Creed. Please join me in Gassho. I put my trust in the vow of Amida Buddha. Reciting Namo Amida Butsu, let us live life to the utmost with strength and joy. I look to the light of Amida Buddha, constantly reflecting upon myself. Let us strive to live a life of gratitude. I shall follow the teachings of Amida Buddha, awakening to the right path. Let us share the true Dharma with others. I rejoice in the compassion of Amida Buddha. Mutually respecting and aiding each other, let us endeavor to work for the good of all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Hello and welcome to this October YouTube service, October of 2022 YouTube service, and this Dharma Talk for this service. I am Reverend Caitlin Kongo Masher Mace, the Assistant Minister here at the Tri-State and Denver Buddhist Temples. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we start on this, I would like to share something that I heard from one of my really great teachers this summer. And so if you could listen with me, I want to share these 3 lines given to me by a really amazing Dharma teacher. And it's called How to Listen to a Dharma Talk. Listen as if I am listening for the first time. Listen as if the message is for me alone. Listen as if this is the last chance I have to hear the Dharma. So often I think when I'm giving a Dharma talk, I sometimes give the Dharma talk that I need to hear. And so I want to share this with you because I'm trying to do this as I'm also talking and sharing the Buddha Dharma in the best way that I can. And today I want to start off our Dharma talk with a reading from the Jodo Shinshu, the 6th chapter, the Transform Buddha Bodies and Lands chapter, and specifically a quote from our great master Shandao. So if you can join me in Gassho as I read from the Jodo Shinshu. Extremely difficult is it to encounter an age in which a Buddha appears, and difficult indeed for a person to realize the wisdom of Shinjin. To come and to hear the Dharma rarely met with is again among all things most difficult. To realize Shinjin oneself and to guide others to Shinjin is among difficult things yet even more difficult. To awaken beings everywhere to great compassion is truly to respond in gratitude to the Buddha's benevolence. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. And we get these words from Shinran Shonin, shared to us from our Dharma master, Shandao. And I love Shandao's teachings because Shandao says, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And I had this thought in there, because the first line of this really struck me. Extremely difficult is it to encounter an age in which a Buddha appears. And that word in there that caught me the most is encountering an age. And so, in great stealing of ideas fashion, I want to talk to you about some YouTube videos I saw recently. And too specific, but first I want to start off with a channel, and if you all have never checked out this channel, I definitely suggest you do. It's called Kurzgesagt. I think the joke is no one can actually say the name. Kurzgesagt, and the title of the video is called The Last Human. And the reason I bring this up is sometimes I think it is very easy to see ourselves at the end of existence. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We're temporal beings. We only perceive time in a linear fashion. So for us, time goes one direction, and we're aware of that pressing in one direction, and everything we have is timed out. For example, right now, we have a fixed amount of time. We say there's 60 seconds in a minute, and my body responds to that sort of stuff, and my heart right now is beating 84 times a minute. So 84 times in that minute, my heart's gonna, beat. And that is forward moving. My heart never beats the other direction. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it only goes forward. We can't really perceive the past, and we can't really even perceive the future. We only receive this moment that we're focused in. And even the moment that we're perceiving is actually not the moment that is truly existing. because it takes us a little while to perceive the things that are around us. It's why if someone throws a pie at you, it takes you time to react to said pie coming at your face. And, I go with pie because pie is always funny. Especially strawberry rhubarb, it's my favorite pie. Maybe I wouldn't like it if someone threw that pie at me. But the point stands. Because we have this forward movement in time, we're only ever aware of this true moment and the things that came before us because we recall it. And because of that, I think we often have a very negative outlook on the future. This is the end times. Everything's going away. This is a political election season, so you may hear like society is crumbling and our morals and our values and all these other things. And I think it's important to see where we fit within the human story and how lucky we are to live in this exact moment. I would say we live in a high point in human existence right now. So hear me up. And I stole all these numbers from Kurzgesagt's video, which you'll find in the description down below. I'll make sure I link it. It's great. But modern humans have probably existed, let's say 200,000 years. So Homo sapiens sapien, and you can look at it, and there's a lot of different variations of what humans look like. So you've got Homo sapiens sapien, which is us, Homo sapien erectus, Homo sapien Neanderthal, all these different versions of these mammals, this evolution into what we are today. But we're going to go with Homo sapiens sapien, about 200,000 years. We'll say that's when the first one just magically appeared. And by magically appeared, I mean it was a mutation off of something else, and it doesn't matter. It was not until 50,000 years before Common Era that 2 million humans were alive at the same time. 2 million people or less than live here in the Denver metro area. But that's the entire world. So that's not a very large number. And it took another 40,000 years for that number to double. So in 10,000 BCE, before Common Era, there was about 4 million people. And right around then, you start having the agricultural revolution. And what this means is we learned how to plant crops. It may not be the same crops we grow today, but we learned, I'm going to plant a seed here and it'll grow crops and I don't have to constantly move. We're no longer hunter-gatherers, we are farmers. And it's through these causes and conditions that places like India were able to come about, and a Buddha came, Shakyamuni Buddha came to share the beautiful and wonderful Dharma with us. And after that period of time, right around 1000, the Common Era, so we're talking, what is today? It is 2022, so about 1,000 years ago, there were 300 million people on Earth. So we went from 4 million in 10,000 BCE to 300 million in 1000 CE, Common Era now. And in 1700 was the Industrial Revolution. And when that started, right around 1700, there was about 600 million people. And we start seeing concepts like replaceable parts and machine printed parts and utilizations of things like the printing press, but even further down, like the concept of replaceable parts is kind of a big deal. Like everything was custom made, but now if you can make a bunch of parts that are the same, you can make the same device multiple times. And the Industrial Revolution was great. And so by 1800, we went from 600 million people to 1 billion people on Earth. And if you think about that, that's 100 years gaining 400 million people. And it took us almost 199,000 years to get to 300 million. So that's kind of crazy. And by 1920, we're looking at 2 billion. By 1970, 4 billion. And today, there are 8 billion people alive on Earth. So over the last 200,000 years, 117 billion people have been born. There's 117 billion people that have existed and born, and their causes and conditions. And that cause and condition has come and created the environment where a Buddha was born so that they could help liberate us from samsara. And that Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, said, for those of you who are down in the muck and the mud, down here living in samsara, say Namo Amida Butsu, because that is the practice for all of us. And that's great. And this is like I said, this is the thing I want to share. One of the interesting things, though, is with 117 billion people, because there's like 8 billion people alive right now, 8% or 7% of all the people ever born in these 200,000 years of modern human are alive right now. That's kind of crazy, right? 7% of the people ever born are alive right now. Like, we are in the pinnacle of like human existence. We are doing the best we've ever done. This is great. Think of how many great causes and conditions brought us to this point. And there are more people alive right now, right in this very moment, than for the first 150,000 years of human history combined. So I think we're doing pretty good. We should give ourselves a little pat on the back. It's okay. The UN estimates by the year 2100, we will reach peak human on this planet. That's an estimation based on graphable data and the understanding that we have of birth rates and everything else, and that'll be right around 11 billion people, at which point birth and death rates should stabilize. And a lot of this has to do with poverty and famine and energy availability and a lot of other things that we can't really predict because we're looking, 80 years in the future, and over 50 years in the 1990, from 1920 to 1970, we gained 2 billion people. We think that we're only going to gain 3 billion more people by the year 2100, and why I probably will not be alive, that's pretty interesting. And with that 11 billion people, we start trying to place ourselves in the story that is humanity. And in that story, we always, like I said earlier on, we put ourselves at the end of that story. Because that's the only part that we can say. Like, we're right at humanity is going to end. This is the end times, end. But what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't? What if this is the beginning? What if we are at the very start of the human story? What if we are at the very beginning of so much more? And because of that, there are so many more people that are being born here in Samsara. And if we are not the start, let's take on a number that Kurzgesagt gave us. So this video, and once again, I encourage you to watch it. They said, if humans were able to leave the solar system and colonize the galaxy, if we develop faster than light travel or multi-generational ships or whatever sci-fi technology that, doesn't seem possible now but may be possible later on, like wormhole space bending, if we understand like how dimensionality actually works and the fact that we only perceive 3, maybe 4 dimensions, maybe 5, really depends on how we define dimensions, and there may be more. If we can actually start to understand that stuff and humans get out there, there could be a time when 10 times 10 to the 29th humans could live. That is optillion, I believe is the word. 10 optillion humans. That puts us just at the start. Like, literally, right now, if we were able to project out 1 million years forward, and humanity continues on for that period of time, we're at the 0.0001% of humanity yet to exist. And that level of causation is kind of amazing, because it means that what we do today ripples out quite a long ways. And it also makes us very conscious of those actions that we take and how we can help people live lives that bring them to birth in the Pure Land and liberation from suffering and sorrow. Because if there's going to be 10 times 10 to the 29th humans born, I want them to not exist in a land of suffering and sorrow. And Amida Buddha said, take refuge in me and be born in my land. So, Namo Amida Butsu. We're at the high points of human existence, and the future depends on our decisions. And to cap that off, I want to talk about another video, and I've talked about this channel before. Vlogbrothers, a gentleman named John Green, he wrote the book Fault in Our Stars, The Pleistocene Reviewed. Definitely check out, he's a great author, he's a great human being. Him and his brother have been working on improving healthcare systems in sub-Saharan Africa and have done a lot of great work. But John Green in this video asked a question. If there's been 117 billion people born, when was the median human? When was the median human? And so the numbers I gave us were the amount of humans living at the same time. So when 1000 CE, there were 300 million humans living at the same time. And so it would make sense that the median human would be, and median being the middle, so the 58th billion 500 millionth person. It's like walking into Walmart and they're like, you're a 100th customer, but like people. And so there's an estimation based on obviously flawed statistics, because we can only guess, that the median person was probably born sometime between 10 and 100 Common Era. So this is around the time that Buddhism is taking hold in India and is quite strong, starts migrating towards China, and Japan is just figuring itself out. The United States, I don't even know what was going on. I don't know if we know. I'm sure that there are archaeologists out there that do know, and I'm not one of them. But if you do find out, leave it in the comments below. But what it's saying is, in 10 CE, as many people were born before that moment as born after that moment. And this is why I want to say that we're living in a pretty amazing time, and why we should make it as pleasant for everyone as possible. At that time, at 10 CE, 1/2 of people that were born died before the age of 10. Infant mortality was so bad that 1/2 of the people born in 10 CE at the time of the median human died at the age of 10 or younger. How often do we hear it? And don't get me wrong, I am very aware of infant mortality. And I am very aware that it does take people and even family members that we have and everything else. And it's extremely sad. And those are the things that we have to deeply contemplate on, the mysteries of life in Namo Amida Butsu. But at the same time, how great is it that we're all alive and over the age of 10? That's epic. It's amazing. And that makes me think we really do live in a wonderful time. And if we live in this wonderful time, then we should want everyone to feel the deep love and satisfaction that we feel. And one of the ways that we can do that is by sharing this teaching, which says, you know what? We live in this time, and yet you are still the perfect person to be embraced by the vow, Namo Amida Butsu. And so we look at what Shandao writes and tells us, and Shinran wants to share with us. Extremely difficult is it to encounter an age in which a Buddha appears. Half of the people, almost half the people ever born, were born before Shakyamuni Buddha. Wow. We're pretty lucky that we were able to encounter a Buddha and live to an age that we could hear the Buddha Dharma. It is indeed difficult for a person to realize the wisdom of Shinjin, true entrustment. To come to hear the Dharma rarely met with is again among all things most difficult. So we're lucky in the fact that we were born in this time that we can hear the Dharma, that you can turn on YouTube, you can do all these things, and we're setting the foundation for the rest of human existence. We're setting the foundation for the rest of the future in front of us. And we don't understand what that future looks like. We don't understand what's next. Why? Because we are foolish beings full of greed, anger, and ignorance, and because we don't perceive time any farther than we can. We can't see what's going to happen. We are not enlightened. But we can do this. We can make this future that we are the foundational pillar of as bright as possible by helping people see that they're embraced by the vow and that they can be happy, because you know what? Happy vibes going forward helps. To realize Shinjin oneself and to guide others to Shinjin is among difficult things, yet even more difficult. To awaken beings everywhere to great compassion is to truly respond in gratitude to the Buddha's benevolence. Let us feel that great benevolence. Let us spread Namo Amida Butsu and hear and feel embraced and build a foundation for the rest of human existence that is firmly rooted in the infinite compassion and love that is Namo Amida Butsu. Let that pour from our heart out of the gratitude that we feel for this teaching and that we feel for getting to hear it and that we get to share it with others. Because as we're all built into this teaching, it is Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So we build not only a Sangha that is here in this temple, here on YouTube, but also the entire human race that's after us. So let's build it on a strong foundation of Namo Amida Butsu. Please join me in Gassho. Extremely difficult is it to encounter an age in which a Buddha appears, and difficult indeed for a person to realize the wisdom of Shinjin. To come and to hear the Dharma rarely met with is again among all things most difficult. To realize Shinjin oneself and to guide others to Shinjin is among difficult things, yet even more difficult. To awaken beings everywhere to great compassion is to respond in gratitude to the Buddha's benevolence. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.